Women in the music industry have been underrepresented since the business began, but that hasn't stopped strong women from dominating music scenes and being influential role models in society. I could go on for hours about how awesome female musicians are, but I'd like to discuss a few specific musicians, their impact on society, and society's reaction to their music and personas. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, the number of women in music began to rise. Respect by Aretha Franklin, a ballad representing a strong woman, gained popularity in the R&B scene as Janis Joplin rose to fame in rock and roll and Joni Mitchell in folk. Other notable performers include Sinead O'Connor, the Indigo Girls, and the New Haven Women's Liberation Rock Band, all of which are still active today. The New Haven Women's Liberation Rock Band wrote a controversial song called The Abortion Song. In an interview in 2005, the band said, "We wanted to make music that would embody the radical, feminist, humanitarian vision we shared." Newer girl power musicians include Ani DeFranco, active since 1990, and Amanda Palmer, active since 2000. Amanda Palmer started out in the indie rock duo The Dresden Dolls. Palmer is known to attract attention for her radical outfits and high-energy dramatized performances. Palmer prides herself on being connected to her audience through not only her music, but her various social media presences. She said, "There is something really special about connecting with people so intensely. You can't expect to blog about superficial things like shopping and expect to really reach your audience in a real way. Staying in contact with your fans means nothing if you aren't saying anything that really connects with them emotionally. It's an ongoing discussion, and the whole point is inclusiveness. It's never just about me being on stage and being in the spotlight. Sure, I get to throw the party, but it's not a good party if nobody comes and if nobody's acknowledged. It's my life and everyone's invited. That's the way I like it." Palmer often comes under attack for her upbringing. She was raised in a middle-class suburban family, and critics say that she can't really relate to the issues she sings and talks about, therefore she can't really connect to her audience. She talked a little bit about that in her TED Talk entitled The Art of Asking.
For about the 5 years after graduating from an upstanding liberal arts university, this was my day job. I was a self-employed living statue called the 8-Foot Bride, and I love telling people I did this for a job because everybody always wants to know who are these freaks in real life. Hello. I painted myself white one day, stood on a box, put a hat or a can at my feet, and when someone came by and dropped in money, I handed them a flower and some intense eye contact. And if they didn't take the flower, I threw in a gesture of sadness and longing as they walked away. So I had the most profound encounters with people, especially lonely people who looked like they hadn't talked to anyone in weeks. And we would get this beautiful moment of prolonged eye contact being allowed in a city street, and we would sort of fall in love a little bit. And my eyes would say, "Thank you, I see you." And their eyes would say, "Nobody ever sees me. Thank you." And I would get harassed. Sometimes people would yell at me from their passing cars, "Get a job!" And I'd be like, "This is my job." But it hurt because it made me fear that I was somehow doing something unjob-like and unfair, shameful. I had no idea how perfect a real education I was getting for the music business on this box.
Palmer also came to the defense of Miley Cyrus when Sinead O'Connor wrote a blog post saying Miley was disrespecting herself and is being pimped out by the pop industry. Palmer wrote a post back to O'Connor stating that while she respected O'Connor, she had to disagree. Feminism was all about being who you want and doing things your own way, and that Miley seemed to be running her own show. Ani DeFranco was born and raised in my hometown, Buffalo, New York. Her ideals are based in building up the little people, those that are often put down. In the early 90s, Ani and her manager, Scott Fisher, chose to turn down multiple offers from record labels, and Ani decided to start her own label called Righteous Babe Records, which is based in Buffalo. She is one of the first indie musicians and women to create their own label. Most of the products sold by Righteous Babe Records are produced locally in Buffalo to keep the label down to earth and away from the industrial ways of the music business that Ani wanted to avoid in the first place. Ani's lyrics range from political anthems to autobiographical songs. Many of her songs are concerned with contemporary social issues such as racism, sexism, sexual abuse, homophobia, reproductive rights, poverty, and war. The combination of personal and political lyrics is partially responsible for her early popularity among politically active college students, particularly those of the left wing. In 2004, Ani organized her Vote Damn It tour, which went through swing states in the months before the November 2004 presidential election. She has backed various grassroots cultural and political organizations. In 2008, she donated a song to AIDS Still Required CD to assist with the restoration from devastation done to Southeast Asia from the 2004 tsunami. She's also shown a lot of support publicly for the LGBTQ community. Ani has come under fire in the past, being called a crazy feminist, which she laughs off. She also ran into some resistance in 2000 when she bought the Asbury, Delaware United Methodist Church in downtown Buffalo. It was going to be torn down, but, much like most of Buffalo, featured beautiful historical architecture. Some people didn't want Ani to buy the church because of the nature of her ideals. However, she bought it, named it Babeville, and now it plays host to a number of concerts and events throughout the year, including the Gay and Lesbian Youth Services of Western New York Annual Gala, an annual sweet charity benefit for the Food Bank of Western New York. Early on, Ani described her goal with Babeville as to create a dynamic place that will have momentum of its own once all the creative people are in there, and there's music happening all night and art hanging on the walls and a crazy cinema in the basement. She's definitely accomplished her goal.
Thank you for showing up. Appreciate it. Would have been just us and the seaweed. Focus. In a coffee shop in a city, which is every coffee shop in every city, on a day which is every day. I picked up a magazine, which is every magazine, and read a story, and then I forgot it right away. And they say goldfish have no memory. I guess their lives are much like mine. And the little plastic castle is a surprise every time. And it's hard to say if they're happy, but they don't seem much to mind. And from the shape of your shaped head, I recognized your silhouette as you walked out of the sun and sat down. And the sight of your sleepy smile eclipsed all the other people as they paused to sneer at the two girls from out of town. And I said, look at you this morning, you are by far the cutest, but be careful getting coffee. I think these people wanna shoot us. Maybe there's some kind of logo competition here to see who can be the rudest. Yeah, 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 yeah. And people talk about my image like I come in two dimensions, like lipstick is a sign of my declining mind, like what I happen to be wearing the day that someone takes a picture is my new statement for all of womankind. And I wish they could see us now in leather bras and rubber shorts, like some ridiculous new teen uniform for some ridiculous new sport. in a coffee shop in a city, which is every coffee shop in every city, on a day which is every day.